Like, as long as the road has been, I'd have been and gave up. I'd have been the man, forget them peanuts, right?
I kept my vision and just like putting together that game plan. I knew what I wanted.
Hey, welcome to The Study with Tony Gaskins Jr., where I am interviewing unique individuals, and we're doing a deep dive studying greatness. Now, today, I have a young man that I have known all my life practically, and I'm very inspired because I've watched him grind over the years. I've seen the ups and downs, and one thing that I never saw is I never saw him quit, and I never saw him frowning. I never saw him complaining. No matter what life threw at him, he still was finding a way to make it happen. So I'm inspired by him. And we happen to be from the same county, Polk County, Florida. And so I wanted to sit down with him and just kind of talk to him and introduce his business to you that he has right now, but also study his past, what built him, what made him, and the mistakes that came with it. So Lance, how you doing, man?
Good, bro.
Man, thank you for sitting with me.
No problem.
And now, tell me this, how old are you right now?
37.
37, okay. So I'm 38, you 37. Now, Bartow, Florida. Tell me about that.
Little Bartow, man. It's like, honestly, it's a little small town. You know, some of your family members live in Bartow, a little small town where you got to get it out the mud. Especially like it ain't really nobody. A lot of people haven't came from here, so you don't really have nobody to look up to. So you got to get it out the mud. But shit.
That's where you was born?
That's where I was born. That's what molded me until what I am today. Bartow, man, just a little small little country town.
Yeah. Now see, this is the thing. I met you probably when you was seven.
Yep.
When you was 7. And
at
at the rec.
That was the first one when we was at the rec. They used to have the church at the rec.
Oh yeah, okay.
The church at the rec first. And then we went to the other church service.
To the hotel.
Yep.
Okay. All I really remember is the hotel because we raced in front of the hotel after church.
Yep.
Can you remember that at all?
Of course.
You can remember that?
Oh, see, you wanted to raise me, but you never knew my dad was training me already. He was training me, 4 days a week. So I was already running and racing.
Now, how old were you when you started training?
Shoot, my dad started me, honestly, he started me like 4 years old, bro. Young.
4 years old.
I used to go run this back road called Homeland.
Yeah.
And he would just take off leaving me. He just told me I had to keep up.
Now, did your dad run track?
Yeah.
In high school?
In high school.
Okay, not in college.
Everybody, like honestly, everybody in the county, in Bartow, they talk about how good my daddy was in sports. Football, basketball, and track.
Really?
Yeah.
Football, basketball, track.
Yeah.
And now in track, what did he run?
He ran, I think, the 220.
The 220?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is it the 200 now? Or is it still the 200?
You know, back. See, he always say, "Well, I ran the 220," so I'm so used to saying 220. Right. People say 200.
Okay, so he ran the 220. Now in football, what position? Quarterback. Okay. Yeah. Did he go to Bartow High School?
No, don't tell him that. But you better ever say Bartow High School. He went to Union Academy.
Union Academy.
UA.
Where's that? Virginia?
No, that's in Bartow. That's on the east side of Bartow.
Really?
That's the all-black school.
Really?
Yeah, that's the all-black school called Union Academy. Right by the rec.
Really? Yeah. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
My entire life.
Well, yeah, but they got some players that came out of there.
Really?
Matter of fact, they had a first-round pick come out of there.
You lying? Who?
Yeah, Major Hazelton.
What?
Then they had Ken Riley. Ken Riley should have been Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Ken Riley got he got the fifth most interception in the NFL. Played the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So you had already been running from 4 years old.
Yeah.
So now your dad has been in your life your whole life?
My whole life.
Whole life. Never had a few years without him.
No, always.
He been there.
I'm talking about from ground up.
From out the womb.
Yeah, always.
And see, that's a key right there. And that's a blessing because not everybody, the people we grew up with, not everybody have that.
No, I don't have it.
And so now when you look back, how thankful are you for that? Like, do you see it? Like you being a father and understanding how tough it is, you know, in relationships. Like, how do you view your dad when you look at the fact that he stayed there?
Honestly, I look at my dad like the perfect dad. Like, when I say he was hard on me, but I understand why he was like that on me. But the main thing my dad instilled in me was how to keep pushing, that hard work. And that's what I really like commend him for. He always just keep going. If you keep going, you're gonna see the results. You see what I'm saying? So that's what he did to me. That's why a lot of people see me with Taste One, like you said. I never gave up. But a lot of people don't know that shit take time, man. That shit take time. Like, when I came out of high school, I was a 5-star. I wasn't a 5-star right then and there. That shit took time. We had to work. And that's what my daddy, that's what he instilled in me. Right.
Yeah. And so it's like you had that fight put in you at a young age. Now, tell me about your mom. Like, what was her role and what type of person is she?
Man, listen, that's who taught me. A lot of people ask me, Tony, how did you get Taste One in all these locations so fast? Nah, I got that from my mama. That's my mama. Cause my mom, we used to always have to go around Polk County, man, selling candy apples. We lived in the projects, but she had to get out and hustle, and that's what really showed me. Like, I never knew. I knew I wanted to do this, but I never knew like her skill set was training me. Like, hey, go out there. You might get some no's. Cause we going out there. Everybody say yeah, they want a candy apple.
I remember her candy apples. She used to make the green ones and the red ones.
She still make them. Got some at the house right now. Everybody be hitting up about it.
Yeah.
But man, nah, she just showed me how to hustle. That's who showed me how to hustle. I always tell my mom, I say, Mom, you're $1 million woman until you learn how to turn it like the correct way.
Right.
But yeah, that's what gave me all that.
Man, so she had that hustle. Now, we're gonna get a chance to see the area that raised you.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I grew up like jealous of that, in the sense of, I know you probably be like jealous, but cause I lived in a 3-bedroom house.
Never. I never had my own room growing up.
What?
Yeah, never.
So tell me about that, like your living quarters.
Man, like honestly, I never thought it was bad. That's what I was used to. I never came from the riches and went down, so I was like, hey, that's what it is. It was good to me. But now that I look back on it, like, at the same age I am now, like, damn, my mama was in the project at the same age. I'm like, shit. So I gotta be doing something right. You see what I'm saying? She got us out of there, and she never wanted us to be there. But I appreciate where you came from.
At 37, your mom was in the projects. And so it's like, you that next generation, and you didn't beat that, you know, and you got a hustle about you. Life different. We got social media, we got stuff to market. But when you say you never had your own room, what you mean? Like, who was in your room?
I had my sisters. I slept with my mom.
Yeah, really?
I slept with my mom because I got 3 sisters.
Yeah.
My mom. So 2 of my sisters shared a room. Then my other sister, the older sister, had her own room. And I slept with my mom.
So it was 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And then you stayed in there with your mom from what you remember, from birth until
like, even when I came home from college, my mom
still stayed with your mom.
Yeah.
Man, and see, that's what I wanted to get to, because I feel like that's something we never uncover in an interview. And it's saying something to me though, man, because man, it's like you don't even realize, like, bro, I can't imagine sharing a bed with my mom.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, that's crazy. It says something to me though, because I look at your grind and I can't imagine grinding like that. And so I want to talk about this a little longer, and then we're gonna come up to Taste One. Now, Hamilton Gardens, you was there about how many years, you think?
Man, I was at least in Hamilton Gardens from at least 12, at least 13, 14.
Yeah.
13, 14.
What you think the rent was? Was it Section 8? Like,
oh yeah, it's low income. Some people are probably paying $5 rent.
Yeah.
Honestly, $25 rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever remember or heard your mama say what the rent was?
Nah, I can give you a story what I can remember. Man, and I like, damn, that's why I always go back and I'm like, I remember we Shit, we ain't had lights for about a month, bro.
A month. Cause lights more than the rent probably.
Oh yeah.
Cause if you're on Section 8, then
Yep.
your rent might be like you say, 25, 5 to 25.
Yeah, it was crazy. So my older sister had an apartment out there. So we lived with my sister for a little bit until my mama hustled it up.
Man. So then have life for like a month.
Oh yeah.
And see, this right here play into your story, and I feel like in ways that we don't process it. Because when you went to high school at Bartow, you know, what happened there with the school?
See, I always get in trouble. But a lot of people ain't know what I was going through at the crib, because my mama was going through cancer then. So, shit, man, nigga want to think about no damn school.
Right.
I want to think about school.
Right.
I think about my mama.
Right.
So, when I used to go to school, it'd be a little rough. You try me, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we gonna take it there. That's how it was. Nah, man, you don't never know what a kid going through at the crib. And a lot of them teachers got to understand that shit. Like, some kids might not be getting a meal.
And see, that's right there, man. That's deeper than what we realize. Like, a lot of people don't process what build us. And I hear these stories and I see how, like, a lot of times I might be weak-minded, but it takes something to build that mental fortitude. So I had everything in the sense of, we lived in a normal neighborhood. It wasn't gated or nothing. Our house was only $45,000, which is not a lot of money, but it still was a house. And I always had my own room. And I had $120 pair of shoes from like a kid. And, you know, my dad worked on the power line. So $24 an hour, that's a lot of money, you know, for Polk County.
Right, heck yeah.
And so, and my mama worked at State Farm. Insurance, which everybody knows State Farm insurance because of the commercials and stuff. And so it was like, your life totally different, and it taught you different things. And so when you was a kid, did you ever process, like, did you ever cry about what you was going through?
Hell no, never. Cause like, okay, I'm gonna tell you, that's so funny though. We lived in Hamilton, like our lights was off for 2 months, but my mama made sure we stayed fresh. She made sure I had every pair of Jordans. Now that's the crazy thing, but I had every pair of Jordans. She wanted to make sure her kids look good. We might not have a lot, but we're gonna look like somebody.
Right.
So that was the good thing.
I know that all too well. My auntie went to jail for writing bad checks, because she used to write bad checks. That's when you could write a bad check. You can't write no bad check now. But she used to write bad checks to get the Jordans for my cousins. And she went to jail one time for a little bit. And that's kind of crazy with us as Black people, you know, what we going through, or poverty, because you can be any race in poverty, but of how we'll be judged for that. But really, it just was our mama trying to make sure, because even my parents, even though they was in a better situation, they still was in debt. When I went to All Saints Academy, they couldn't afford $50 a month. So even though it was like a better, we still was broke. But yours on a whole nother level. Now, I remember being in Hamilton Gardens, and I kind of saw it like a prison compound. Like, because it was a gate around it, wasn't it? It was a gate around it.
Still a gate around it.
There's a gate around it, and then just the way the apartments was built, it looked like a concentration camp. You know, like what you put refugees in, not like people. You know, could you see that? Like, could you feel that, or it just was normal?
Man, I thought it was like a big playground. I honestly thought it was normal. We saw the rough stuff going out there, the shooting. I saw a couple shooters out there. Saw the drugs. You saw it out there when I was young, but I thought that was normal, bro.
Right.
I thought that was normal.
Now, do you remember playing Throw It Up, Bust It Up?
Shit, that's why I played. That's why I learned how to play.
That's where I used to play Throw 'em Up, Bust 'em Up out there with y'all after church.
Out of church, yep. That's what, honestly, man, that's why I learned how to play.
Yeah.
And Hamilton gone. Everybody had, man, how you learn how to play? Hamilton gone. Playing with no shoes on, got staples in me, got stitches in my foot for getting cut off by some glass.
Glass. It's definitely glass. All the Santa Spurs. I don't even know if that's what they call.
They
but
still call it that.
That's what And so out there playing, throw them up, bust them up. And that was like so humbling, but you going through a lot at that time. And as a child, you couldn't even realize it. And that's crazy, man, because that's a lesson of like parents. Because as parents, a lot of times we try to live through our kids, and we'll get our kids them Jordans, and if no parents did that, kids wouldn't know the difference
at all.
They'll be like wearing starter shoes from Walmart, and everybody will be cool. And so now let's fast forward. High school, went to Bartow, getting in trouble. Now, what did trouble look like? Do you mean fighting, not doing schoolwork?
Oh, fighting, not doing schoolwork. Shit, what my 9th grade year, I had to go to night school.
Really?
Wasn't doing the work.
Now, how tall were you?
6'3", same height I am now.
6'3" in the 9th grade.
Yeah.
So who would fight you, Lance? Like who want to fight?
Well, all of them fought. Like a lot of my homeboys, I got a small homeboys. You don't care, they gonna fight. It is what it is. They don't care about the size now, so I had to fight.
What y'all fighting over?
Anything.
Like you sitting in my chair in the lunchroom.
Anything.
You stepped on my shoe.
All that.
Just everybody anger coming out. So you telling me you literally fought?
We fought all
like
the time.
Throwing hands
all the time.
You ever got whooped?
Nah, I'm gonna tell you, the only person who whooped me in my fight was one of my sisters. That was it. That was it. And that ain't happened too long. After that, you get that little size on you. That shit cut out then. You gonna be whooping like that.
What'd your sister whoop you for?
Oh, we always fought. My sister, one of my younger sisters, she could be mad at my mama and gonna take it out on me. Well, she older than me. I'm the youngest.
Nah, I know Tamika, one of them, and Donna and Muff. I know Muff the most, and then I remember Tamika. I don't know Donna really.
Donna the oldest.
Oh, okay, she the oldest. Now, which one whoop you?
Muff.
Yeah. She always looked tough. Like, she looked tough. So, bruh, so ain't no guys at Bartow beat you?
Oh no, ain't no boy. Anybody bought that ass. Anybody whoop me now.
Yeah.
Ain't none of them whoop me now.
Hey, this hilarious to me because as I'm piecing this together, and that's what I'm doing on the study, is everybody's story. I'm just kind of seeing what made them. And it's crazy to me that your life was in a place that the only person that could beat you in a fight was a girl.
My sister.
And that was your sister. So imagine what she had to have gone through to be that strong.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
To be that tough.
Oh, yeah.
and girls go through stuff we don't go through.
She got a story, but
I know her story got to be crazy.
She got a story.
So it helped me understand more about your story. And so, man, that's so deep, bro. And I don't want to go too deep, but I really want people to be able to grab from Lance's story to understand how you have to understand how your story did not happen to you. Your story happened for you. And you have to take that pain and allow it to birth your purpose. Because if you wallow in the pain, it'll kill you. But if you allow it to make you stronger, your life will never be the same. So even the little things that you overlook, like having to share a bed with a family member, that's $1 million dream you had in that bed. So, man, that hit me, bro.
Yeah.
And I be telling you all the time, you're going to be a millionaire. Do you believe it yet?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Every time I tell people this, I say I missed out on my opportunity to make my millions the first time from football. I won't miss it the second time.
Yeah.
I ain't miss it. I won't miss it the second time.
So now let's go through that a little bit, because go to Bartow, getting in trouble, move. Where you went next, the next school?
Went out to Texas, Arlington Grace Prep. It was a private school. Went out to actually Justin Forsett.
From Florida to Texas.
From Florida to Texas. Justin Forsett was his dad, which was a good friend of my dad. Told my dad they was going to get ready to move out to Texas. And they showed the coach my film, because I played varsity my freshman year at Bartow. And he saw my film, like, nah, we got to get him out here. And they knew the situation I was getting in. They knew I was getting in trouble. So they went to my dad and like, hey, you want to go come out here to Texas? At first I said no. Like, man, you want no private school? My daddy told me it was a private school, and he like, well, you need to challenge yourself and get out your comfort zone. And that was kind of a challenge to me. Like, okay, let's do it. And I ended up going out to Texas. Now, it was rough going out there at first. I can tell you some stories now. I can tell you some stories. Even when I got out there, I was still kind of off track.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when I went out there, it was like the sky's the limit then.
Yeah. Tell me a story you remember from Texas.
I'm going to give you a story nobody ain't never heard about. Now, it's crazy. Now, remember I left Bartow after getting in trouble. I went out to Texas with that same thing. I'll never forget, man, my coach. Now, nobody don't never know this story. I'm going to give you the story. My coach went out of town. I was at his house. And I took his truck about 1 o'clock in the morning and drove probably about an hour away, messing around. And then next thing you know, was inside the park. I'm gonna give you a story. Police pulled up. Nobody never know the story. Now imagine if the story would have got out. I was a 5-star athlete that never got out.
Right.
And I put the police on a high-speed chase. in my coach truck. Just imagine them police is coming up on you with them guns like, hey, get out.
Yeah.
Had my handcuffs. I had to call my coach. And I'm like, man, I came out here to go on the right path, and I'm doing the same shit I'm doing back at the crib.
Right.
In Florida.
Right.
But that right there that opened my eyes, man. That was a story. That was a bad story. And I give you a good story. Shit, we went out there. When I went out there, it was a good change. I went out there in high school, won 2 state championships, junior and senior year. Was getting recruited by every school in America. Every school. Right? If you name the coach back in them days, the head coaches, I saw them. They came to my house. Yeah, so it actually just changed my whole life.
Now tell me about that SAT score.
Oh yeah. So look, my coach, I give my coach credit. He made sure we had a tutor for our SAT 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays of our junior year. So after football practice, we go straight to our tutor. And man, it was so crazy. I won out of both our homeboys, Justin and David. He was the quarterback, and Justin Forsett, he was the running back. They were getting better scores than me the whole time on the practice test. And I'll never forget, man, we went and took the test. They're like, how you think you did? I was like, man, I did good. They like, all right, we'll see. So I'll never forget when I got my test scores back. I got my test scores back the day of the national championship, Miami playing Ohio State. I was happy. So when I got my test scores, I looked at it. I called my tutor. I was like, look, I got my test scores. I don't know. Tell me how to add this up. So he said, get your math score, and get your writing score, and add both of them up. Man, I got that thing. I said, well, they said I got 1,040. My coach told us, now, if you don't make over 1,000, you're going to have to take it over. Man, listen. Man, I made that 1040. I was so happy that day, but that night I was sad. I was mad because Miami lost. So I was happy and sad at the same time.
Right.
Because I was like, well, I got good on my SAT, but I don't got to worry about nothing now. I can go back to Bartow if I want to.
Right.
I can go back home. I was like, you know what? Well, I'm good. So, man, that was something that a lot of people probably, if I was at Bartow, I would have made 1,000 for a 1040. I know for a fact.
Right.
I would have made it goddamn 600.
And you know what? I know guys who got a 600. You know, it was athletes that, you know, went to JUCO and then went D1, but probably got like a 600.
Yep.
And to put that in perspective, I took it one time and I got a 930. So that, and I was still here in Polk County, but, and I remember going in there tired, had to stayed up late the night before, talking to a girl on the phone, and I just was taking the thing and rushing, but when I got that 930, that was high for me. So when you told me, when you said 1040, I'm like, man, you a genius. Nah, the smart people that, you know, we look up to, they laughing at our scope. But for athletes, at that time, we only needed a 820 to play D1.
Yep.
And you only needed a 720 to play D2.
Yep.
And so I was going D2. So I only needed a 720 and got a 930. I'm good.
Yeah, you straight.
And then here you is only needed an 820 and beat that by 220 points.
Well, No, I needed 1,000
for your coach.
My grades too.
Oh, cause your grades.
My grades are horrible.
Oh.
My grade. Boy, I had a 2.0.
Yeah.
So I had to get over 1,000. That 200, that 840 probably would have counted for me.
For the school to accept you.
Yep.
For the college to accept you. Okay, because
Yep.
you had 2.0.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had a 3.3. But you know, private school, they and it's in Polk County.
Right.
And so, man, that right there. So you went to play football in college, and where did you play?
Oh, you already know. The U, man. The best. The U.
University of Miami.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, like you said, every coach who was somebody was flying into Texas to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
And you chose Miami.
Miami over, because I took my visits to Miami, Florida, Purdue. I took my visit to Purdue for our quarterback. They said if I come on a visit, they'll offer him. Boom. They offer him. Got him a ride. He ended up going to Purdue. I went to Purdue, Texas A&M, and I visited Oklahoma. Now it's so crazy. Out of all five, I'm tell you out of all five of those schools, all of them flew their private jet out to me except one. And that was the University of Miami because they didn't have one. But man, that was my experience again recruited.
That says something though. It's like, that said a lot to me. The school that didn't have a private jet, that's where your heart was at.
Yep.
That's where you wanted to go.
Yep.
When a lot of times these schools thinking that a player could be bought, and not everybody could be bought. And so they flying private jets, and you like, man, I was sharing a bed my whole life, but this private jet still ain't gonna get me to your school.
At all.
Because my heart with the University of Miami.
Yep.
University of Miami need to cut you a check for that.
Man, listen, I told them,
they need to cut you a check.
I need an NIL deal.
Right.
I just need the peanuts in the stadium. Let's make some money together.
Exactly. They need to do that because you chose that school over all these other schools that courted you on a whole nother level. And Purdue probably thought you coming up there, you gonna see something that they could sell you.
Oh, well, Purdue, at the coach that time, that coach never let nobody wear number one. And he told me if I come to Purdue, you can get number one.
Well, hey, you would have been a king.
Yeah. Oh, crazy. The visit was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a crazy visit.
That's crazy. I can only imagine, man. That's next level. You a 5-star athlete. That's a level I never been at, heard of, you know. And so it's like hearing that, it's so crazy to me. But the thing is you had so much talent. But did you know that you was that talented? Yeah,
I did. Honestly, with my dad, I'm gonna go back to him, which he had a track. My dad started a track club because of me.
Yeah.
At a young age, you know what? He fast. He got a lot of friends that's fast. Let me start this track club. And the one thing my daddy did was he never let us run track meets around here all the time.
Yeah.
He always took us down to Miami.
Yeah.
He said, well, that was where the fast athletes were. So he always took us down to Miami. And he saw winning. We was going out there with our little 6-man track team winning. Winning the 4x1s. We winning our individual stuff. So he already saw like, okay, yeah, he could do something.
Now, what was it to where, like your mindset, I went, and we're gonna keep this, it's raining and thunder, we're gonna keep this in here because it's a good element. And I went to Division II, and that's because me playing at All Saints, we playing 1A, so we weren't playing nobody. And I remember talking to the coaches, Florida State, and I committed to Florida Atlantic, which was D1 AA. But they were saying, come on as a preferred walk-on. And then the coach at Florida State, who from Bartow, Odell, he talked to my mom, and he was like, he told her, Kathy, if Tony could play, he could play anywhere. The NFL gonna find him. And I remember when I went to college, my daddy used to say to me all the time, he'd say, son, if you sacrifice for 4 years, your life will never be the same. And I did not understand what sacrifice meant. And I remember when I was up there in West Virginia, I called you because all my teammates love University of Miami. So I would have to flex and be like, hey, my homeboy, the wide receiver. And I called you and you were like, Tony, boy, I couldn't sit that bench. I had to start as a freshman. So you was grinding, but at the same time, I remember you talked to me and you said, Tony, boy, don't do like me. He said, boy, I got 2 on the way or something, you said. So tell me about that mental struggle of like wanting to be a star athlete, but also tricking off.
Yeah, man. You know, when you the star athlete, I was always in the spotlight, and you're gonna have a lot of stuff flocking to you. It's gonna flock to you, but you got to be strong. But I wasn't strong. I was out there wilding, and I like my freshman year, I ended up having a kid, and that woke me up. Like, boy, hold on, now it's a little different now. In your freshman year, you was okay. Now your sophomore year, your baby here. Now you got to get baby. She crying. You got to do all this, but it'll just mold you and try to make you stronger. Now you got a purpose to try to make it and try to get that money, try to get them M's. What you try to get them M's. So I can provide my little girl at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so now you was doing what you could do the best you knew how, but still making mistakes. Now, how long were you at University of Miami?
I was there for 4 years.
4 years, okay.
You gotta look, boy, the mistakes you make come from little old Bartow, and you going to that city life, going to University of Miami, man. That's that's a big switch.
Cause Miami is live down there
every night.
And so now looking back, do you feel like had you went to, let's say, Purdue, your life would have been totally different because of the city?
Probably have, because I'm going to another little smaller town. But the connects I made, I have now from going to University of Miami, I wouldn't change it. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you still got life after football. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't last forever. Mm-hmm. So, of course, it would have made me, I probably would have made some money in the league. Mm-hmm. Never know. But I just look at far ahead right now of the connects I made in Miami. So, mm-hmm. And now they coming back to me. So mm-hmm. that's the best thing I was looking at, going to University of Miami.
Right. Because it's like you can't change it. So you got to get the best out of the situation.
Right now.
And having that on your name, on your resume, University of Miami, is totally different than having just any name on there. Yep. Because them connections matter. Yep. Now, let's talk about Taste One, because you done been through the highs and lows of adulthood. Mm-hmm. And, you know, kids and dealing with family and friends and going through life like we all do, the ups and downs. But 37 is so young, and you got a $1 billion company that you sitting on, and that is Taste One boiled peanuts. Now, where did that idea come from?
Man, that's crazy. So we're gonna go back to Hamilton Gone. I used to tell people project, but you know the name, Hamilton Gone. And my uncle, when I was younger, 7 years old, used to come out to Hamilton Gone and park he had a business called Slush Your Mouth. Everybody know about it. You know about Slush Your Mouth. Right. And when he used to come to the front, I used to always go to the truck. And my uncle never made me pay. Mm-hmm. He used to always give me a free slush. He ain't give you no hell, give you a free slush. I know why now. He used to give me a free slush. That's the cheapest one. He gave me a free slush. And I used to always tell him, man, when I make it to the NFL, I'm gonna buy you a whole lot of Slush Your Mouth. So imagine, I always tell people this, from 7 years old, from elementary to middle school to high school to college, when I used to come home from college, mm-hmm. Every time he give me that slush, I don't care who around, I don't say it loud, I'm gonna buy you a whole lot of Slush Your Mouth. And then once I got finished playing at University of Miami, I went on to play at Cleveland for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then once I got injured, it was done. I went to my uncle. I'll never forget, he was sitting in the backyard under his tree. I said, I'm ready. And I always told him, get you a lot of Slush Your Mouth, I'm ready. I'm like, yeah, you did. All right. So went and looked for the location. And we had everything in us Slush Your Mouth starting off. Mm. And when it came down to the business part of it, like I said, we couldn't come to agreement. And it wasn't my uncle. My uncle passed away last year, and it wasn't him. I honestly say it wasn't him. But I had to come with everything myself. I had to think. So you got to look, my family that's my mom, uncle. That's my grandma, brother. Mm-hmm. So my family been around it all our life. Mm-hmm. So I learned how to do the slushes. Mm-hmm. That was the concept, slushes, corn, and boiled peanuts. When it got to the corn and the slushes, my whole family now do the seasoning. Right. For the corn. Mm-hmm. Boom, that was easy. When we got to the peanuts, I called my mom. I said, Mom, I don't know how to make no boiled peanuts. How you make no boiled peanuts? And she like, do this. And we did it, and I added a little something, and man, we came up with it. And I end up opening instead of slush your mouth, I end up opening up Slush World. And then we had Slush World for 2.5 years, and the peanuts was selling out every day. And just so happened, like, man, I'm gonna shut this thing down. And a lot of people in Tampa, because we ended up opening up in Tampa, a lot of people in Tampa, man, why you shut that store down? Man, we love them boy peanuts. But they didn't know why I was shutting it down. Ended up getting a little small warehouse. I had it for a year. I thought it was 6 months, it was a year. Had the little warehouse, you remember the little warehouse in Zephyr Hill. And man, when you got the little warehouse, you got to cook everything from scratch. And man, listen, we could not get it. But at all, couldn't get it at all, man. And them peanuts was so disgusting because at the storefront, everything was short. We did it a shortcut. You know what I'm saying? Through the thing and it was like, well, nigga rigging. Nigga rigging. Nobody know. So when we got in the warehouse, couldn't get a thing right. And man, I just shut it down. Once I shut it down, I got into trucking. Ended up starting my own trucking company. But the whole time I was on the truck, I was just brainstorming how I want to put this thing together, how I want to present it. I said, if I want to present it, I got to get a production team. You see what I'm saying? I got my production team, which who filming it right now, Dunny. And then I got my graphic art designer, Vince, and then I got a photographer, Sean. All of us started just working together and putting everything together. And what you see is what I've been working on the whole time from 2014 to now. So a lot of people looking at me like, man, Lance, well, you came up with this idea? No, I was doing this way back in 2011. I was just, the whole time I was putting it together. And what I did was I did like a pump and dump system. I was on a truck. I pumped out of trucking and was dumping it to what I really want to do, to my dream, which was the peanuts. And that was my process. It took time, but that's what I did.
So you took the long road literally.
Oh yeah.
Like, cause you were driving trucks.
Yeah.
And that's a grind, you know, and you can make good money, but at the same time, you putting in time. It ain't easy as some people online try to make it. Oh yeah. Cause you know, you working.
But you know, horror story on that truck, man.
Tell me about that.
And I tell people, I was out there hustling, and that's why I kind of get mad when I got a family member. Hey man, you can keep fighting. Well, I was out here fighting. When y'all thinking I'm fighting out here. I tell you, time in West Virginia, man. And when I went out on the truck, I told myself when I got on the truck, and I'd never go out of state of Florida unless I have my own truck. So for 2 years, I had to get my experience. I had to work for this company. I hated it. That was the first job. I had to work for this company to get my experience. And when I got my own truck, I ended up like, I'm going out there. But the thing is, I never drove in the mountains before. And that's why they tell you go work for a company until you go out on that road. So that trainer could teach you.
Right.
I guarantee you, 99% of the drivers out here these days, I guarantee they had a trainer. They went to work for a job, and boom, I didn't. So I just so happened, I'm in the mountains for the first time in West Virginia. Man, I was going up the hill, 15 miles an hour. And I'm like, dang, boy. I'm talking to my homeboys on the phone. Like, what is these right here? I got this. Man, I'm going to that thing. I already know how to shift and everything. I knew how to handle the truck, but the mile was a little different. And I got to I saw this flashing sign. I'm like, why they got a scale at the top of the mountain? No, it said all trucks mandatory pull over and check your brakes. So man, listen, I pulled over, checked my brakes, but I ain't know if I'm about to go take the ride of my life. Man, listen, imagine going down when you get at the top. You got to hurry up and get in a certain gear. And I didn't get in that certain gear. Imagine going out, I'll never forget, it was 7% downgrade. But I'm talking about this mountain, like, well, you going out this mountain a long time. It's called 64. Ask anybody about 64 in West Virginia. Going out this mountain, I was going out this mountain 95 miles an hour, bro. Check engine light came on. I'm looking, I'll never forget. I'm going so fast, but it's going slow to me. I'm going so fast, I had to get in the middle lane. No lie, bro. I had to get in the middle lane. And it was a truck. I'm like, how you going down so slow? And when I passed by the truck, I'll never forget, there was a black man smoking a cigarette. He looking at me like, look at this Ricky. And he going, I'm like, how you doing this? But bro, while I'm going down this curve, meanwhile I'm going down the hill, it's a curve. They got a cliff.
Right.
Bro, I can't slow this truck down.
You going forward or backward?
I'm going forward.
Okay.
95 miles an hour. I had 42,000 pounds on the back of the trailer. 42,000. I'm going fast, bro. The check engine light came on. I'm talking about my RPMs at 25. They don't even supposed to be that high. I thank God. God was with me, boy.
Had to be.
Listen, because a lot of people, they said a lot of people died over that curve. And when I got to the bottom, I said, man, let's live, boy. Nobody better ask me for shit. Because I'm out here busting my ass, risking my life to do what I'm trying to do. And nobody don't even see it. I'm like, bro, I don't know how I make that turn. I don't know how I make that turn, but I'm like, I'm done. I already told I called my mama. I said, boy, mom, but I thought I was dead.
I thought you were dead listening to it because that's why I played football in West Virginia. And just driving a car, I used to be scared for my life because as I'm going around them mountains, I'm looking over and I'm like, that's a cliff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, just one wrong slip. If I fall asleep, I'm dead. Like I'm going. And so that's crazy. Like, and I was driving Pontiac Grand Prix on some 20s.
Yeah.
and it used to overheat going up the hill. So I used to have to turn on the heater to get the heat off the engine with them spinning 20s on there going up the hill. I can't imagine being in a semi truck with 42,000 pounds going 95 miles an hour, bro. That God save you because that was you were supposed to be done.
Oh yeah.
And that right there, that says so much to me because very rarely do people see your grind behind the scenes. They see you shine, but they don't see what you had to go through in the dark by yourself. And not a lot of people are willing to be a part of your darkness, but everybody wants to stand in your light. And so what you said, when you say, hey, when I got to the bottom of that mountain, I say, nobody better not ask me for nothing because I just risked my life. And that's huge, bro. That's huge. And now I also want to say something because you said, and then we're going to come right back to this now, but you played Cleveland Browns 2 years. Now, was both years practice squad or was 1 year, or did you make active roster? Practice squad. And on the practice squad back then, what was the pay?
You probably made about 12 stacks a week. You know what I'm saying?
And
a little small, no money.
What would you say is for the total season? Because is it 17 seasons?
Yeah.
I mean 17
then,
weeks.
It was the base salary, I think 200.
200,000.
Yeah.
So for them 2 years, you would gross 400,000 before taxes. And
before taxes.
Before taxes. So I want to say that because a lot of times, you know, people, they think just because you got them 3 letters, NFL or NBA, that you just in the room sitting on millions of dollars, even if you played 1 year. But that's still, it's like, yeah, it's good money, but you still gonna have to get out there and grind if you don't do that for 10 years. And even if you do it for 10 years, you still gonna have to grind.
Better.
You see what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to point that out because a lot of times our friends and family don't realize that. That just because we hit 6 figures, we can't take care of everybody.
At all.
And so that was a lesson. So now, Taste One, for one, I want to say, and this is stamped to everybody, what's the website?
Oh, Taste One Boiled Peanuts with an S.com.
Taste One Boiled Peanuts with an S.com. We'll have that pop up on the screen for you. And for one, I want to say, not because I'm sitting here with you, but them the best peanuts I done had in my life. And I love boiled peanuts.
Hey, but Tony, they don't know. You was getting it before. You saw this before everybody else saw it.
Right.
You used to come to the store every time and get the peanuts. So they seeing something. You knew the work I've been doing. They just, the world just not seeing it.
Right.
And this the time. It was my timing.
Right.
I saw a lot. Like I tell the people, like you go back. I know we off topic, but I go back and tell people I had to wait my time. I saw my dog doing a thing, but I'm gonna still be there like, hey, let's go, let's do this. I'm gonna be there like I'm making it. But I knew my time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And my time now. So
yeah,
that's all I've been doing, man.
And I ain't never feel no hate from you.
At all.
I ain't never feel no jealousy from you.
Yep.
And you one of the few people that I done been around that I feel like turned what the stuff we did, like even going to the suite at the NFL and stuff like that, turned that stuff, use it for motivation. You know, like and versus hating, right? And so it just that's also why I want to sit down with you and listen. If you watching this interview and you don't go to tasteoneboilpeanuts.com and order you a box, you living in sin. I want to tell you that you wrong. You wrong. You wrong for that. You wrong for that. For seeing and hearing what this man has gone through to get to this point. Every last one of us. If this video get 1,000 views, he should have 1,000 orders, because we got to support each other. We don't pour enough into each other visions and dreams, but yet when we start something, we say, oh, I ain't getting no support. Well, we didn't spend $45 to support him. So we reap what we sow. So man, I'm hoping that the people who see this, and I hope it don't overload you.
Okay, I'm ready for it. I told you I'm ready for it, man, because before I came out with Taste, I made sure I don't have all my what they call it, T's dotted, T's crossing the I's dotted,
right?
However they say it, but I want to make sure I at least have it. And so if y'all do order, I'm ready.
Right. And so I could see the big vision, man, and I'm so glad you're on this journey, because I know 10 years from now, it's gonna be locations, around the country. People just want to have a little peanut stand, and I really want to get a recipe for that corn on the cob, because your Uncle Corn on the Cob used to be off the chain. And then the slushes, his slushes now was second to none. I've never had a slush as good as his slush, because they just really slush your mouth. Like they really was. It was smooth. It wasn't too heavy. And the flavor was good. Like, he got that from heaven.
And the way he was doing it, he had everything he needed.
That's crazy.
And when it was so crazy, he amazed me. I never forget when he even though we didn't do the business together, him and my dad were good friends.
Yeah.
They're real close.
Yeah.
He still come over there. And I'll never forget this, my uncle told me. I was like, come on now, he going a little too far now. He said, the way you got your slushes, that's how I always want to make mine. I'm like, huh?
Wow.
I'm like, what? Nobody slush can't out-touch your slush. Because he was like, you did it, but the thing is, you know how it is.
Yeah.
We might be kids.
Yeah.
But somebody got to be better than Michael Jordan.
Right. Right.
So I just put my thing together, but I always tell them, no, yours always better.
Yeah. I think it's because that's what we knew first.
Mm-hmm.
And that say something too. It's crazy how people can have something and want something somebody else got. But he really had it.
Yeah.
Man, what's up, man? Cool. You already know it. Out here. See what they do, baby. See, we out here.
I smell them from way over here. They out here got it going.
What's going on, man? What's up, man? You good? I'm all right. Good to see you. I'm a classmate, man. I tell you some, they pretty good. Come show them out here, man. Stay here, dog. Just chilling, man. Don't you know I play football right there, right? Right there, you already know. See?
He already know.
Right there. We were the the first time we played together, Coach Roach. Coach Roach.
I remember Coach Roach.
All right, boy. Yeah, man. Congratulations, bro. Man, thank you, bro. Yes, sir. Yep.
Man.
Oh, man.
Hey, that right there is something, though, that he lived out here with you?
Nah, he actually ain't live out here. He lived down the road.
Yeah.
He lived down the road. He ain't live out here. But they came out here. Everybody came out here, man. They already knew I was the youngest playing with the older boys, but I was doing them in. So that's why everybody knew.
It's people that lived here when you was here and they still here.
They still here.
And it's the normal life.
Yep.
And then the dishes, that's for the cable. The dish, satellite dish back there. I mean, you think that worked?
Only we ain't had that. See, we got the cameras out here. Listen, we used to break them cameras. I remember when they first put them out here.
And I wonder if
and we made sure we broke them. Like we came from the side. Look, we came from the side.
Yeah.
And we'll throw bricks at it.
Yeah.
They had a little rim. So we'll throw bricks at it, break the K, and then break the camera.
Yeah, breaking it.
We want them looking at us.
It's like, you ain't gonna come out here and help us. Don't be watching us.
At all.
Right.
Had you Santina, son? Yeah. Boy, you look just like his daddy, boy. You look just like his daddy. Come to the front. You got the projects over there, right across the gate.
How many fights you guesstimate you had?
I guarantee I had at least 20 fights. At least 20.
Right.
At least 20.
Right. And just to put it in perspective, man, I probably had 2 fights in my life. Just to put it in perspective, like, of how different life could be, you know? But, and the thing about it, what a lot of people don't realize is, them fights is what you doing right now.
Yep.
Cause you fighting. Cause I'm gonna be honest with you, if I was you, I'd have been gave up. Like, as long as the road has been, I'd have been and gave up. I'd have been the man, forget them peanuts, right?
I kept my vision and just like putting together that game plan. I knew what I wanted. I know what to do. I said, man, I can't stop. Cause when I put my face out there and people like, well, Lance thought he was gonna do the peanuts. I gotta do it. I have to do it. So if somebody made me mad, like, you try, you're like, I gotta get you because you tried me. And that's the same way I do with the business.
Right.
Like, if I put it out there the first time, I let people say, hey, Lance doing peanuts, and I stop, they're like, man, Lance, you just talking.
Exactly.
That's how I feel like I gotta do it.
Exactly. Man, I appreciate this, man. I'm hoping we could bring Lance back in the future so that we can see the growth of Taste One Boiled Peanuts. So wherever you're watching or listening to this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you stay locked in with us. Please go support Taste One Boiled Peanuts with the S.com. Thank you so much, Lance. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.